States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we call this meeting to order. And I would like to start by asking a motion to accept the regular minutes from July 28th, 2021.
Yes, I think it's still in those, I think it said it was 2 days to make the rating, wasn't this the line?
I'm sorry,
Oh, for the beach one? So the reason why it was a couple days is because the beach was closed.
Oh, yeah, remember, yeah.
Right, so we had it.
It's gonna look weird in the paper, like, okay.
Well, you can, were the minutes corrected to reflect that?
I believe so, because I think she did say something about it. So I think they were about it.
All right, so comments come, yeah, so a motion to approve the minutes. Rebecca, second. Cindy, discussion, fix the comment that the radio was in hand, it was just not placed at the beach, and it was not there for the next 2 or 3 days because of beach was
I had a question about, or Rebecca had a question about, working on with Matt.
Yes, so confirmation for the zoning. I was under the impression that you had said yes, you would do that, but if it's not the case, then I'll do it.
This is good.
So this is the land use code,
Right, back in 2001.
right, and it hasn't been updated since 2001. So I asked for volunteers and the comment was, you know, they hoped it wasn't all onesies on the case. So if you.
Oh, that's how.
I think it's, you can't do it.
But if you.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
So because our name is in the fancy wrong.
So I thought you had said that you would be willing to do that. If you're not willing to do it, then I would take that on. So it's up to you to, that's.
Yeah, the question on that, they were all right, they said they could do it in 30 days. Or,
They should be able to do it during the day,
and then
so.
just make it comfortable.
So the public, so when we talk about redoing the zoning code, those meetings have to be open to the public. If there are 3 or more people from a committee on the committee, so if there were 3 of us, let's say, Rebecca, you and I were representing the board along with Matt and Art Stokes and Charlie Asher. In that situation, then public announcements would have to be made that the meeting is on such and such a day, it's only to the public and it's done. If it's just a committee meeting, then only 2 people from the board, 2 people from the planning board would be able to participate. And I think that's what they're doing. Because it's difficult to do on the public, each meeting being posted and publicized. So they're looking to do 2 weeks, right? And then there would be a public hearing. So what I would suggest with that, since it has been so long and it impacts so many people, I would suggest that there will be one board meeting where it's presented, the highlights and the changes. Let that go out, let the public have the opportunity to read that for an extra 2 weeks, and then have a public hearing to accept it and modify it. So the minutes will be corrected to reflect Trustee Smith's participation in that.
But it's already on there.
It is there, okay, so it's okay, right? Right,
She
yes,
was on it, said,
I was just like,
wow.
oh, you were surprised.
Wait a minute, I've been 2 weeks, I didn't do anything related to this.
No, we haven't done anything yet. So are there any other comments, questions, corrections with the minutes? Okay, so all in favor of accepting regular minutes from July 28th, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, at this point, I will open it up for public comment prior to the public hearing. Any comments from the public? Being none, I will close the public comment period, and I will open it for the first of two public hearings. First is the adoption of Amendment 1 of the Village Speculator Local Law Number 1, 2021, entitled Safeguard All the Waters of the Village of Speculator, County of Hamilton from Pollution, and providing penalties for violations thereof. So with this addendum, there have been modifications. And so with those modifications, Section 12, as it relates to inspection of existing facilities. So the Village of Speculator can appoint an appointee to inspect existing septic systems according to the sections herein to determine that they function properly and are in compliance. Property owners have the opportunity to have inspections made by professional engineers. Inspections shall be performed according to certain provisions. There are mandatory inspections that will be required. There's, if there's a change or an expansion of use of a septic system, a complaint of system deficiency, property transfer within the Village of Speculator, conveyance, so any sale of conveyance, transfer of title, lending institutions, if they require a property owner to obtain a septic system treatment inspection, inspection reports, and there are specifics what that report shall contain. Failed systems, there are also conditions requiring a hydraulic load test, and those are specified and include such things as structures that have been vacant for more than 7 days, new water source directed to the system within the last 30 days, soil fracturing activity over the last 30 days, etc. Section 14, the amendment, yeah, they're over by signage. There's not any light on the one. Okay, so conditions requiring a hydraulic load test. These requirements shall not apply to a property transfer of vacant land, a property transfer of a parcel which has a new on-site septic system installed within 36 months or 3 years of the date of transfer, properly functioning systems not otherwise in compliance with requirements of this section may be permitted upon approval of the building code enforcement. And any non-compliance of this section shall constitute an offense which shall be deemed a violation. So 30 days of continuing violation shall constitute a distinct offense, and the violation is punishable by a fine not to exceed $500 for each day of violation after the initial 30 days have passed. Okay, yes. The Village of Speculator may provide if required emergency repairs to any septic system, and owner shall be invoiced for any costs associated with that. Going on to section 14, there's a mandatory maintenance and inspection of septic systems or cisterns near the lakes, rivers, and streams. There's mandatory and maintenance inspection relating to any systems that are within 250 feet of any lake, river, and stream within the village for permanent and seasonal residents in accordance with sections 15 and 16, which would begin May 15, 2022, and are due by October 15, 2022. Additional inspections shall be every 8 years. So that will be every 8 years in accordance with the sections. Again, any non-compliance after 30 days will be punishable by a fine not to exceed $500 for each day of violation and after the 30 days have passed. Again, I don't know what's wrong with these, I'll check. Inspections, who can do it? A certified or professional engineer shall determine the specifics. And there's all sorts of things that you'd like to know about sludge and pumping. Section 16, distribution boxes, leach fields, pump stations. A distribution box or a flow splitter. The certified inspector or professional engineer shall uncover the distribution to determine if the box is clogged or damaged. and if all leach fields lateral are properly connected to the box. Regarding the leach fields, the inspector shall walk the fields, look for signs of failures, etc. They shall determine if flooding or seasonal high water may affect the absorption area. The certified inspector may also probe the leach field to determine proper drainage is taking place. And if a field is not drained properly, a sewer camera inspection may be required to inspect the outlet of the pipe in the distribution box to the leach fields. And again, there are pump stations. If it's equipped with such, they can check for any pumps, alarms, and if the pump appears to operate properly. And then the last section, next to last section, penultimate section, refers to emergency repairs. So these are any repairs designed to prevent or abate an existing or imminent threat to public health, safety, or welfare caused or to be caused by a failing on-site septic system. So in that case, the village of Speculator's employee shall be notified before the repair has been initiated and a permit shall be obtained, and in no event shall an emergency repair include enlarging an absorption area or replacing or disconnecting a septic tank. And then finally, there'll be an annual review of the addendum to local law number 1/2021 to safeguard all the waters of the village of Speculator and Hamilton from pollution and providing penalties for violation thereof. So, are there any comments from the public or from the board on the?
Yeah, I'd just like to interject that Hamilton County's soil and water review is there on 100% support. Lake Pleasant Second Bank Association, many of the members and the president reviewed it. They provide 100% support for this document. And we also had Fox, who's a professional engineer in good wastewater systems, who did various review and thought this was a good document for.
Are there any other comments? Yes, Kate.
This is as a public person.
Yes,
Katie
Katie Smith.
I feel that there's not due process in this amendment, and I don't understand why we are asserting ourselves claiming we have jurisdiction over some of these items. I think if someone is do something, I understand that point of view, but I don't understand just going on people's property and inspecting. I understand section 12, we can go on any time without probable cause, from what I can see. And I did change for explanation of use, that's different than I think this engineer plan. As to improve by the all of those things, there are safeguards in place for that, so we get that part. But emergency repairs, I guess, I don't know about the process of it.
Well, when it's risk to public health and safety. So that's a time that, so it would constitute an emergency.
And is this something other towns do?
Yes.
The emergency falls on that. Health, DEC, and the EPA, they have jurisdiction.
Right, so why do we need to do on top of it?
Well, we're not really going on the property, they're inspecting it. We're not, they're gonna hire one professional engineer or certified inspector to do all the work. Technically, I don't really see where we need to go on the property. There's no reason for us to go on the property. If there is a notification of a failed system, we contact the board of health.
And who notifies and how do we verify this?
What do you mean?
So a notification can come from a neighbor to the property, because failing systems can smell, they can be spongy properties, they can be oozing. So if that's noted within that distance, 250 feet of the lake, that poses a problem for pollution of the lake.
I guess I just want to assume we need to insert ourselves in these organizations in place that take care of this.
There's no enforcement, that's, Young Soil and Water was the enforcement, they never funded, and then the priorities changed. So there is no enforcement for any septic system in Hamilton, New Jersey. And again, letters will be sent out telling people what they need to do, and if they have an inspection, and it's fine. That's it. If it fails, then we go with the Department of Health. And they're there, and they'll deal with it.
So we're not doing anything different than we normally do, we just accept our rule and add enforcement.
Yes. Because there are systems on the lake that are failing or have failed, and people don't do anything about it. And that puts in jeopardy our general health as well as the health of the lake. And as we all know, if the lakes fail, then we fail.
One of the things, our whole algae was part of, or BJB is part of a problem throughout this county and other counties. And if we keep nutrient loading, like Pleasant or like Sacandaga, and then your jurisdiction that wasn't like that, people won't be able to swim, animals can't go in the water, people won't want to come, and it's going to shut down. It's from climate change and nutrient loading into the lakes. It's just a matter of time before we face the same as other, I think it's for the lake, but as just other documented HAPs in their lake. And they'll get it. So these are the things we're trying to stop. And if the water gets warmer and has its position, it's going to happen. It's just when. If it's not 5 years or 10 years, it's going to happen.
And what kind of do our people have to inspect?
We don't expect it. It's a professional.
Well, this says in PT of the village inspector.
He's just a go-between. He doesn't actually inspect them. The inspector.
Well, it says shall have the authority to inspect.
Well, should have the authority.
To determine that they go into the property.
So at
Isn't
present
that
time,
carbon and
at the present time, Soil and Water Lenny Coop is certified to do inspections. So he's gone through training and he is certified to do that for as a private entity or as an appointee for the county. So it's not just anyone walking up, you wouldn't want me to.
So section 12 comes into play, someone has a notification or at any time.
Notification. And again, the first thing the village can do is go to Department of Health, DEC, and APA, and have them investigate. They have the authority to close this property line to do this violation. In the state of law. We have no, I don't think we have any intention.
I just feel like the biggest thing myself. But I can't remember
No, I'm just say that the village is the only place that's done this. I've received letters from our area. It's not detailed as this, but they did specify that they have site home and inspection and all those things. So I mean, everybody in there is kind of doing the same thing.
But other things like the work is in the process. One of the biggest things is the replacement, getting funding for replacement septic systems. I saw, I don't want to go to this bit, but Hamilton County, so water is trying to do that. So the resident doesn't care what the cost for replacement. A lot of places actually have funding. Hamilton County has funding, but it's only for, I think, Echo Lake. That's the only place that they're spending the money.
And DEC has some funding.
Well, I understand there's a change in expansion of use or if the septic system is put in. I guess I don't understand why it's necessary upon the claims of the property. It's my understanding that you have put restrictions on someone being on the side of the property. And this is required every time someone sells the property, they can accept it. Which could put hindrances on people trying to sell the property.
I'll tell you that I had to sell my aunt's property in New Jersey, and they had a cistern. And the cistern was deemed, upon inspection, to have failed. And if I was not able to put in a septic, I was supposed to declare my property unsaleable. And that's exactly what they were doing. they were going to condemn it and not allow me to sell
Right, but you have, it's your decision whether or not to replace them. And it's the decision of the buyers and the sellers whether or not inspection happens.
it. We were not allowed to sell. That's what we were told. We could not sell in the condition that it was,
But
with a faulty cistern.
I don't know if it's.
Well, there are cisterns in the village, and well, I'm not sure about the village, but there are cisterns in Lake Pleasant, which this does not apply to. And we're not talking about all cisterns, or we're not talking about all septic systems. We're only talking about those that are within 250 feet of the water.
So I'm just trying to understand, so how if the owner of the property does not let you further sell the property, then are we subject to these fines, is what you're saying? Prior to the property sale, it shall be inspected, and a report shall be provided to the village inspector. I strongly feel that we're inserting not we, but the village is inserting ourselves in a place that I feel is not a place that should be, so that's just my feeling.
Anymore.
We can do that.
This is just my view as a public person.
Yeah, no, and you have every right to share your public view, absolutely. There are other communities who are in the same situation where there are people who are very responsible with their septic systems, and there are other people who are not. And so it's a matter of ensuring the health and life of our lake, and we do want to do it in a manner that is not overreaching and out of bounds. And so we've consulted other villages and towns that have put in comparable septic laws. Some are much more stringent and some are much looser. So this is not a novel idea. And in consultation with Soil and Water and LPSA, it is an issue that we need to address sooner rather than later. Because it's very hard to
I'm
unring
not
the bell.
disagreeing that it's an issue that should be not my problem is I feel that it is a lack of process and that it is a hindrance on the sale property.
And why do you say it's a lack of due process?
Because it reads like if you just go on and look at people's septic systems.
So do you have recommendations in the
Well,
language
I'm here,
as a public citizen?
I've never asked for recommendations, and I'm here as a public looking at this.
Okay,
I wanna keep it separate because.
no, I understand. Right, and I wasn't asking you as our village attorney, I was asking you as a private citizen.
Well, I have not thought about that. I think that could be the issues, but I think that this is very stringent.
Is there anything else from the public? Yes?
I've done a lot
If you would say your name for the record.
Shorty Hopkins, Speculator. I've done a lot of night fishing, Lake Pleasant. And you get into some of your coves on a summer night, and you get the odors and rotting leaves and whatnot that are leaching into the lake. And sometimes it smells like sewage instead of what it really is. So in a case like that, if somebody were to go, you the next day and say, I've been over in Cubs Cove and it smells like that, or and you're gonna go investigate over there.
We would call the Board of Health.
And Hamilton County
There's
Soil
all
and
over
Water.
the house, right?
And Hamilton County Soil and Water can take
And
activity
also,
tests.
your algae growth in the lake are usually caused by septic systems working too good, and that's what contributes to contributes to your algae growth. Your main thing with septic tanks that they're working, you don't get E. coli in the water, and I understand every time the snake gets our lake, it's always in good shape, so like David said, they put a lot of stuff on the books that it's really in a lot of residents and they get ready to sell the property and whatever. And I don't know how many of you have updated any septic system in recent years, but one of the ex-zoning officers in West Pleasant said she was one of the questions for his hour, he wanted to roughly, so I mean, if you're gonna sell your house, it's $40,000 into it. Now you're talking, say, $200,000 house, you gotta get $250,000 for, you know.
Well,
And, you know, there's laws that's been on the books, that's sewer rules. The state came in here and told the village back in the sixties, they had to do something about something. They put the sewer system in and cleaned up the lanes and everything else. That was 50 years ago. Now all of a sudden, we gotta,
No, it's not all of a sudden. It's not all of a sudden, but thank you for your comments.
there's a few places on the western part of the village that are around septic systems and reaching one because of the rock formations up there and whatnot. That's why when the sewer was put in originally, they stopped at Camp Maryland. And my opinion is if you start burning left up with the state of New York and the Department of Health, that you have a problem on there, they're gonna tell you to go in there and fix the problem, and you know, looking at another sewer project, and blasting rock to get pipes in and everything else, and you're the ones in control, I just started throwing at you, that's all I have to say.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other comments? Okay.
As a trustee or as a public?
Either way.
Okay, well, as a public citizen, swimming down the Camp Woods and at Tom's house and seeing the suds and stuff like that at different times, especially last spring when we had so many people up here living here and whatnot. I asked for a 6-year for the sewer, and the board decided that it should be 8. For the septic, I'm sorry, a 6-year.
6-year inspection cycle, rather.
Inspection cycle. I asked for that as a citizen, but the board decided that they wanted to do it. So I just wanted to say that.
I just have one more comment. Since I've been doing 77, I've been surveyed. And I think 97% of the people who live in Speculator had a survey. If you add the money up from 77 till now, of what I paid, I think some people can bear some of the cost of protecting this lake, the streams. It's important that everybody become responsible to protect the lake, protect the livelihood of the people that live here, protect the businesses, and hopefully our children, our grandchildren, their children, want a lake that's the same now as it was 50 years ago. I've noticed pond weeds and pond weed is thriving in this lake. The amount of sediment that's coming up, the amount of algae I've seen, it's something I've never seen before since 77, and it keeps increasing each year. If we don't take a step to stop it or slow it down, this village is in trouble.
I have one last little tidbit. When the state said that the community had to put in a sewer system, it was going to be a joint effort between the village of Speculator and the town of Lake Pleasant. We got down to the nitty-gritty, the town taxpayers voted to opt out of it, the village bit the bullet, built the sewer plant and everything else, saved the lake. So what makes you think now that the town of Lake Pleasant is going to jump on the anyway and show that their taxpayers now, they didn't do it 50 years ago, so.
I can't
And
speak.
that's why the village of Speculator was created in the beginning, is because of businessmen in the area wanted more amenities for customers and the town people, all the folks in the town. And that's why the village was incorporated in 1995. It's always been the village of Speculator.
I can't speak for the town of Lake Pleasant. Hopefully they'll follow suit. If they don't, nothing to do.
Except that the village, and speaking as a private person, you're all residents, not only of the village, but we're also residents of the town of Lake Pleasant. And so I think that if this is important to us, we should be vocal and at the town level as well, and encourage that board of council to seriously evaluate and take the right steps to do that.
So I would just like to maybe pull the amendment and have the village attorney look at it and make recommendations.
Okay, once those recommendations will be made, just as a point of order, once those recommendations are made and the board approves them or any potential changes, then we would have another public hearing on the amendment. So at this point, I will close the public hearing on the addendum to local law number 1 of 2021 to safeguard all the waters of the village of Speculator, County of Hamilton for pollution and providing penalties for violation therein. So now I would like to open public hearing number 2, and this is what is this? Okay, this is resolution to repeal local law number 2 of 1985. So 1985, local law number 2 of 1985 is relative to civil action against the municipality for damages or injuries to person or property sustained by reason of defective highway, bridge, or culvert, unless prior written notice is received by the clerk or highway superintendent, and there is a failure or neglect within a reasonable time, after which giving such notice to repair or remove the defect, danger of obstruction that is complained about. The issue with this law is that it does not cover the village to include any street, highway, sidewalk, or crosswalk, nor does it mention the consequence of existence of snow or ice. With that said, there is a village law, a New York State Consolidated Village Law on the books. It's Article 6 entitled Streets, Sidewalks, Public Grounds, Section 6-628, Liability of Village in Certain Actions, is broader in its scope and offers better protection than for the village, in that no civil action shall be maintained against the village for damages or injuries to person or property sustained in consequence to any street, highway, bridge, culvert, sidewalk, or crosswalk being defective, out of repair, unsafe, dangerous, or obstructed, or for damages or injuries to person or property sustained solely in consequence of the existence of snow or ice, unless written notice is given to the village clerk and there was a failure or neglect to correct the situation. So at this time, I'd like to hear any public comments regarding the repeal of local law number 2 of 1985. Okay.
I was just gonna make it clear, if there's a village law in place that is broader and more comprehensive, then that just what stops, what the people are taking away the road, that would be the.
That's what covers us.
So that is covered, just to make it clear.
Thank you. Hey, hearing no public comments, I will close the public hearing at this time on the resolution to repeal local law number 2 of 1985. So with that, I would like a motion to pull back addendum to local law number 1 of 2021, submit it to the village attorney, have her review that with any additional comments or suggestions, and then make those amendments on the board or those adjustments on the board and resubmit it for public hearing. I have a motion for that. Mark Donifer, second. Jim Rumsey. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries to submit that to the village attorney. Regarding the repeal of local law number 2 of 1985, may I have a motion to that effect? Mark Donifer, second. Rebecca Smith, any comments, questions about the repeal? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries, the law will be repealed and the documents submitted to the states. Okay. Alright, so, It's, wastewater. Sorry, who are you?
Edward Sherman.
Yes. Excellent. So, Ed has provided us with a report. So Ed, if you would take us through that.
Okay, so from the water department, and from the participants, we'll be doing stage 2 disinfection bypass this month. It's, and we read all of those meters, minimal issue at this time, we'll still wait for phone calls from people who receive reports that they're going here. We're still continuing to operate with one pump, and we are in the process now of replacing the second one, scheduled for the 19th to have all the piping and the swing check valve, air cushion, and the new surge relief valve installed. And then I'm hoping either the day before or the day after or sometime near, I'll have the soft start installed. He's asked to install it already, but we're doing a portable installment because you can't test it unless all the other stuff is in. So once that's all in, then we should be back to 2 pumps, but everything has been operating well, since the last issue we had, which we continue to check chlorine phosphate throughout the system, everything is in working order. We had a water drain service drain, on 8121 on Woodward Drive. It has been repaired as is. Unfortunately, that was another private job a long time ago that the village took over. When that was installed, they used cheap plastic under the road for the laterals. So I have to determine whether or not I should just take the entire thing up and replace it now, prior to patching the road after I cut it. If I am to do that, then there's also 3 more services that will be done, more than what we are doing in cheap plastic as well. It's unfortunate that that occurred because the village did do some work in there at one time. We put a manifold in at the end where the hydrant is, and then those were all attached to that. I don't actually have cheap plastic in my inventory, so luckily I found a small section that we could use, and the bar fittings and hose clips. That's what the repair was, and that's not how I like to repair things, but that's how I could repair it at the time. The next step is either to replace it all, or, which as I said before, replace that, replace the other 3 services.
How much would that cost?
Would be, I can't give you an exact number, but it'd be relatively minimal.
Well, minimal to you is by minimal,
Well,
different to
yeah,
me.
so, I mean, hours and all that stuff.
No, just the cost of goods and what would you have to do above?
Well, see, so because of COVID, the prices of everything have fluctuated so much and increased so much that I don't actually have a number since the last time I purchased any of those materials. But let's say, 500 feet of 3/4 inch line. We might as well replace the curb stops and curb boxes while you're at it. All those materials, the sleeves, if we use plastic, we're definitely not going to use copper, way too expensive. But now plastic is up to 250 inside, no concern with putting it in the curb. So each service, I have to be but I
I
don't
think
know.
that would be helpful for us to understand how much that would be.
Is there any precedent for having the homeowners contribute?
So the way our local law is written, from the curb box that we provide to, let's say, their meter pit or to their house, is their responsibility. And before that to the main is the village's responsibility.
And where's the cheap plastic?
Whereas the cheap plastic is our responsibility. If it had been, if I had went there and turned the curb off and the water had stopped leaking, I would have said it's the homeowner's responsibility, and I would have done this. That's just how it's written. And obviously, we don't want homeowners digging across our roads and stuff. I think that's why it's written that way. It's more of a safety thing, and it allows us to measure it from So I have to just decide whether or not we're gonna do it now, or let's say it breaks again, okay, now it's time to fix it. You know, maybe that was a fluke and it broke, because it's done for a long time. But my experience with cheap plastic is once it starts breaking, then it's gonna continue breaking because it's starting to break and get brittle. There was a crack in it about that long, so then you put a repair plate on it, you put it up.
And roads and our responsibility.
Yes.
Not the homeowners. Because the homeowner also has the cheap plastic.
They probably do, and when that breaks, that is their responsibility. So I was not under the impression that Woodward Drive had cheap plastic. I did not know that until that break occurred and then we found it. So, just another thing that we've found to be fixed at some.
So I think that it's important to bear in mind that, the $1.9 trillion, package that, was passed for COVID relief, we have received half of that portion, for the village, so we received that check. And it can go towards infrastructure, that includes water and sewer in our case. So I think it's important in the weeks, months ahead, as Ed and I have been talking, is to identify where is the best place for that money to be used. And it would have to be encumbered by 2024, I believe, and spent by 2026. So it gives us a little bit of time to determine where that goes, and I know that there are a number of projects. This is one. Another are the lines down by Black Bear Run. Is that called?
Yeah, the extension, there are extensions
The
I think money this year for that,
for
like the run, yeah.
the whole complex.
Yeah.
well, that's it.
I believe I did allocate money. What we had decided was we were gonna replace it as emergencies occurred. We did not have any emergencies this year, which was a nice relief for once because we don't have a few.
And then the third is to complete the loop system of the water.
Complete the water system that was unfinished to Black Bear Run from the bridge and extend it beyond there towards Camp Woods to buy more water and, if we have water, maybe we don't have to turn the water on to that, hopefully. I mean, obviously, there's always a section where you're gonna have to turn them off, but this would allow more customers to have more water for longer periods than there are water.
So you're able to isolate the break easier rather than knocking out the water to half the village and then requiring everybody to have well. So I think that it's important over the next few months that we understand what those water projects are, what they entail. So to that end, I know we'll talk about it a little bit later. There is a request for proposal that Trustee Doniker and Jim Rumsey, are working on for an engineering firm to come back with proposals on what those things would look like, what those costings would look like, and to see how we can best prepare for those plans, and not wait until everything explodes and then we're in total emergency.
We're gonna focus on Loop 2, Camp Woods, and that the other project is, I think Ed knows those projects well, and really tell him
No,
it's done, unless he wants an engineer.
The only
Come
thing,
in and map out completely fix.
the only thing with the whole complex is would it be worth moving that system with Black Bear Road, just to, you know, that's the only thing.
Yeah, we can,
If we want to,
okay. I'm sorry, would you please continue?
Yes, so that service has been apparently determined to do here shortly. We did install one camp's meters, they ended up leaving another building, I can't remember the name at this time, for staff, so that's back in. For the new meter, we will, put the rest of those meters in once they slow down, two which I'm waiting for. The garage probably is a new one. The one across from, there's only a few buildings left that need new meters, so we'll make sure that they're all. And then I'd like to do is really the same, we spent a lot of time at the wastewater plant this last month. We set up to repair that hydrant at the village motel. I don't really want to be working with all the traffic right now, so probably won't push it to the fall. We got any fire hydrants, we'd like to do that. It's that.
Could be a team building project.
And then the meter pit that was asked to be installed at the pavilion, we do have it on the shelf. It's just finding time to have somebody pick it up. I was hoping to do it this week or next week. It shouldn't take us long. We may have to turn the water off the firehouse for a little bit, but I'll try to talk to
Just
you
have
now.
a craft there, and the,
Next week is probably better.
So,
those days are out, we can just work around, and then.
yes.
Work it.
Well, that's a different morning.
Well,
Craft fair, yes, but not the.
they started too, just
Yeah.
get started.
Well, Wednesday. Well, once that's in, we'll just be able to determine what the pavilion's using, because as of now, the firehouse pays for that one. So we're just trying to. Speedies and DMR have both been completed for June. The annual study I've been working on from DEC, we did I don't know if everyone knows about this, we did a year-long study for our new speedies permit, which included many more requirements for us than we had in the past, because we haven't had a full review since something, 84 or 85. So they put a lot more permit limits on us, and they wanted us to do a study on the hardness of the river, because they told me the numbers were wrong. Because they determine what can go into the river based on the hardness of the river and how the river can handle what's going in. So we did that, and then copper study. Unfortunately, most places, most older homes have copper, and as that copper leaches from the hardness of the water, which our water is horrible, it ends up at the wastewater plant. Our plant is not designed to remove copper. It does a little, but not as a new plant would. So they wanted to make sure that our numbers were high enough to where the project we're doing now, we didn't need to do a new project to include copper and so on.
What is your general impression, not that we'll,
I don't think the results that should be a concern. And then all the other numbers, I've kept track of throughout the year. There's one thing I have to argue with them about, but we'll see how that goes. And that's my PO, my dissolved oxygen that I returned to. They're requiring me to have 7. Which everybody that I've talked to, other operators, engineers, seem to think that's high compared to other places, especially when we're an extended aeration plant and you don't want to go above 2. So how you run a plant at 2, that's efficient at a 2. And you get a 7. Unless you aerate your estimate, which is very fast. So I'll have to figure it out as mechanism. And then as a disinfect, that can be worse or better. Disinfection is initiated, so we take the water down, we also need to take that. So I'm not sure why they had some 7 water figure it out. The outside plant's probably gonna go offline, maybe this week, next week. We're at 120,000 gallons a day. Plant is designed for 300,000, so each tank is 150. At this point, there's not enough food to provide both tanks, which is causing other problems, so we have to try to reduce those. So we'll probably pulling some. Pump station 2, we had to pull both pumps. Normally, once a year, we have to do this for flushable wipes, and paper towels, and whatever else people think they can flush down the toilets, that should not flush down the toilets. I don't know if everybody knows how a pump is designed. There's an impeller on the bottom, and then you have a casing around it. Those rags get stuck in that centimeter space, between that impeller and that casing. And at some point, they just backed up and the pump stopped working. So that happened to me once, and I had to come back and reverse the pumps to try to get them out because it was weekend. That worked for a little while, but we had to pull the pumps and move the rags, and I do have like a gallon bag full of rags that came out of both of those pumps. I was gonna bring it to the town, so.
So for a field trip, the trustees and any of the public are invited to go down to the wastewater treatment plant and see the damage that questionable wipes is.
So flushable wipes, like, if you have them all, what I would suggest anybody would is take that flushable wipe and try to tear it. And all you're gonna see is that it strands and fibers, and when those all bind up together, they don't come apart. Even though they're grinder pumps, they will not grind those apart, so,
Do you ruin the pump when it binds like that?
if you continue to operate it like that, you can burn it up, but there are safeguards to stop that, but let's say that safeguard fails and it's turned up and it keeps trying to run, the pump will burn up. If they run off, they can wear your impeller wrong so they don't pump efficiently anymore. So they aren't good for the system, plus it's the time and manpower to pull that pump and pull it apart and remove those rags. We did it the other day. We had a hard time getting the pump reseated so that it wasn't spraying and going into the system. So we pulled it one more time, so we could drop it. And we had just removed the rags, there was already rags. So, I mean, I know that it's gonna happen, but the more people are educated on knowing that those aren't really flushable, even though they say that, they're better off for you.
Is there any way to put a screen around it?
I mean, so.
It's gonna get backed up.
So I spend 2 hours, let's say, pulling one coat, and I remove the part, remove it and everything. If I put a vacuum in there to catch all that stuff, I gotta check it every day. So, you know what I'm saying, like it's better that people just don't think.
You can't screw it because it's designed to jump.
Yeah, it's meant to grind everything up and separate out, so.
Yes,
I saw that in the water bill.
Yeah, we made a note on the water bill, hopefully that.
so I think we'll try and keep that for the next year so that people see you don't do that, don't do that.
And paper towels too, I mean, they can break down, but not like more paper. So, we have these things in the plant that's called rag ropes basically. So, as those rags continue to come into the system, they get longer and longer and longer, and like that, it's just full, and then we get weighted down, and we have to remove all those by hand, so. The less of those we get, the less of that we have.
So to that end, if the board will recall, we are installing electric hand dryers, so we're getting rid of the paper towels in the village, and those should be going in within the next couple of weeks, I think. Yep.
So I'll just give a quick thing on the project, the upgrade project.
Yes,
So at this time, the project is underway. I am not positive if the contractors have completed their paperwork. That's to be submitted to the DFC. All that means is that they don't get paid until it's done. They have decided to move ahead and start working, which is perfectly fine with me, because the sooner it's over, the better for us. We move on to doing better things. They have the addition concrete poured already, and they began digging out the new tank today. They should actually probably put the forms in there for the tank. So, the big build parts are already underway, and then all the wood stuff is supposed to happen, you know, snow slides and all that stuff. Any of the indoor stuff they can do, and, Aqualogics will be here for the skating system and automated air valves and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm thoroughly happy with the progression that's occurred so far since we started.
terrific, very good. Any other questions for Ed? So Ed, thank you. I know you've got a lot going on. You and Lenny have a lot going down on the plant, and I'm very thankful that you're able to fix most of it and keep things going and on target. So on behalf of the village, we thank you for all that.
Wastewater.
At this point, because Ed is here, I would like to just move up, with your permission, the new hire of the village maintainer, so that we can get Ed's input, if you'd like to provide that. So as you know, we have an opening for a village maintainer. This is a swing position between DPW and the wastewater treatment plant, a 60-40 split. I was very pleased that we had we had six very well qualified applicants for the position. They were interviewed by Trustee Doniker, Ed Charcot, Roger Blanchard, and myself. Each was enthusiastic and brought a different set of skills to the table and different experiences to the table. Each one also was invited to tour the wastewater treatment plant to get an idea of what that would entail, etc. So after much consideration, we have, I'm proposing to the board that we hire James Henry Rust IV from Wells to come and fill that position as village maintainer. He is a veteran of the Marine Corps. He is also presently working for Hamilton County and has a lot of experience working in the village with village sports. So he's an electrician. He works on mechanics and motors and things like that. He does have a CDL license and is very incentivized to do a good job for the village. So are there any questions or comments, or if you want to give your 2 cents, Ed? Any comments or questions from the board? The position would start at $17.50 an hour. As we said, as Mr. Rust would accumulate certificates for the water and for the wastewater, his salary would go up $1 an hour. And the supervisors, both Ed and Roger, will work on 2-week schedules for him so that he knows where he'll be. And of course, if there's an emergency, he would be told, to where that emergency is. But Ed and Roger are committed to making that work and maintain those levels of communication with the new employee as well as the existing employees when he'll be on site. So at this point, I would like a motion to offer the job to James Henry Rust IV at a salary of $7.50 an hour. May I have a motion for that? Mark Doniker, second. Jim Ramsey. Any questions or comments?
This is for the spot, for the person who received the offer.
That is correct.
Thank you.
That is correct, yes. And he will be able to start giving a 2 weeks notice to the town. Personally, I feel very strongly that when people come from other businesses and other opportunities that they're giving fair notice to their employees and their employers and are starting from. So, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Okay, motion carries to hire Mr. Rust, and I'll be giving him a call after the meeting. Right, so thank you, Ed. Okay, treasurer's report.
Just a reminder, the last day of the beach, believe it or not, already is August 22nd, which is always on Sunday. So, yeah. Go back to college. So, as you should have seen in the email that Crystal sent you, there was a customer who had broken basically in May, resulting in possibility. This was at 107 Shilley Drive. The customers average usually 3,000, 4,000 gallons usage, and since they have not had forgiveness before, Crystal suggested that they ask for forgiveness of the excess usage over their average.
You do, to permit. So, and the name is?
She did not write the name down, she just wrote the address. Okay, let me see, it could be in here. Yes, it's right here, Martin.
Zufsky.
I
So,
think we should maybe just discuss something before we go.
they did, yes, they did come up, yes.
We always do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, so that has come in on writing, so the base plate runs of its own accord. So it's nothing that was done maliciously or, I don't know, non-caretaking. So at this point, I'll interrupt you and ask for a motion to grant a one-time forgiveness to the Pisevskis living at 107 Shelley Drive. Trustee Smith, second. Trustee Cindy Rumsey. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries to do that forgiveness. So if the clerk would be kind enough to notify them.
Okay, also, she just wanted me to note that financial report number 2 is, ready for review and to get it along.
Okay. Any questions or comments to the clerk? I have a question. Where do we stand with security cameras?
I know that she had gotten the budget.
Okay,
So
so,
that was last time.
okay, so by next meeting, if we have two, if we've narrowed it down to 3 potential, that's great, yeah. 3 potential cameras, and then we'll decide how to progress with that. And from the last meeting, we had asked that Crystal contact existing businesses with security cameras to see if that can be of benefit to us.
Which I know she wants one.
Terrific. Good. So I know that's okay. So I would like a motion to approve abstract number 5 to pay the bills. Cindy, second. Rebecca, any questions or comments about the bills? Nothing? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries. We will pay abstract number 5. COVID-19 update, as you are well aware, COVID cases are on the rise of the Delta variant. There's a lot of information out there. As it pertains to Hamilton County, we presently have 8 cases. In the county itself, there are a few cases in Speculator. I have advised our employees within DPW's office here, as well as wastewater treatment plant, to make sure they are vigilant in spraying down all surfaces when people have come at the end of shifts, changing trucks. We have put the plexiglass back up to serve as a barrier between the deputy clerk and the public. We will continue to keep our hours as they are up until 2 o'clock. And people have been really good about doing things online. As you all know, we do have water and wastewater bills available to be paid online as well to further reduce the limit of public access to the buildings or public traffic to the buildings, as well as provide, I think, a very good service to our customers. I am still waiting to hear the FEMA update for the Halloween storm report. The FEMA COVID update is still ongoing. Verizon small cells, they have been hooked up to fiber, which is the next step, and the final step will be the antennas. Still waiting to hear where that is. With the fire tower, I last reported to you that as per the APA, we had to have the foundation plans drawn up by an engineer and have those plans stamped. Todd Hodgson from the Lake Placid area came, did the soil testing, wrote up the plans. Those were looked at by Bob Benkovich. Adjustments were made. All the things are in place now to resubmit our application to the Adirondack Park Association for the variance of that 9 to 10 feet over 40 feet for the tower. So hopefully we will continue to progress in that regard. I would also like to note that Engineer Hodgson has donated all of his time in excess of the $2,000 limit to the village. So I would like to publicly thank him for that. A very gracious gesture, very, very kind fellow. So thank you, Mr. Hodgson. The American Rescue Plan Act funding, as I said, we received the first half this year, we will receive the second half next year. It's approximately $16,000. The Office of the State Comptroller has been holding webinars as to how to place the money within our accounting system. There will be another webinar going over again on what specifics the monies can be used for, what the requirements are for that. But the projects that we've been speaking about with our infrastructure with water and wastewater are well within those parameters. We just need to make sure that the money is tagged by 2024 and spent no later than 2026. As we are approaching the fall, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, by December, again, we will have to make that decision to either accept the law as it stands or to reject any commercial enterprises within the village. And I'm not sure if you all know, but the town has voted not to progress with any commercial enterprises within the confines of the town. And so,
include us.
no, we're a separate government entity. So we have to make our own decision, and it has to be done by referendum. So that's why we're waiting until December, so that within the appropriate time limits, we can have that referendum, that vote of the public held during our general election. So with the town, no, the town is November, we are March, village is in March.
It's gonna be like December, listening.
No, we have to take the action by December, but the referendum can be voted on in March. Yes. It gets very confusing, John, so.
Most everything is.
Yes, it is. Okay. So under new business, we have a new hire, so I'm very excited to have JR, he goes by JR, so we're very happy to have JR start with us. And Anka Clean Energy Programs, she was not able to send me the presentation. I will tell you that there are some very good opportunities for us to get some small grants to further improve our energy efficiency. And I would like to invite Nancy Burstein to come down again, give a short presentation on those opportunities and some other things that we can do within the village to lower our costs, our overall costs. So I think anything that we can do to lower that overhead and be able to apply our hard-earned tax dollars to other projects, I think it's well worth our efforts.
She's not joining us.
Yes, she's not charging us at all, as opposed to other government entities shall not be named at this point. Mr. Rick Rumsey, our zoning officer, will give us 6-month report. Mr. Rick Rumsey?
So I'll start with Water Incorporated. They're the company that builds Dollar General stores. I've been in touch with Karen from Lotzane many times, and the final one, she wanted us to do the original thing, either yes or no, but I spoke with Attorney Smith, and she said absolutely no. So I told Karen that, and she said I still would present. So she came to a planning board meeting and presented, and I told everybody on the board to indicate how you vote, just give opinions. And I think she got the message, and she was not perfectly smart. Evolution is at the end of North and Speculator. There was a stop work order issued by Bob Anthony, and
And he called and said, you know, we got 4 trailers up in this property. So we went there and checked it out, and he did. Only 2 were owned by the original owners of the property. And so one was removed, and I was told that one of the property they had to remove 1 more, or they had to apply to the zoning board for a trailer park. I mean, they did not indicate whether they could be approved or not. But they decided they had to. So that's one. There's a property on Stanley Park Drive that I've been in contact on several occasions with people that are interested in purchasing. I think they have an agreement to buy it. I hope they have an agreement to buy it. Because sure,
When they were trying to sell more, I don't know what I finished, because I.
in 2016,
Yeah. So you were gonna present that, they got that to them?
I don't think that indicates that this is something.
Because they were having paid, they were given the. So,
Not on that property, on another section.
the lot B has the proposed drawing, I have made that map, it's filed and.
Anyway, I looked at the map, and yes, there is one, a house on one lot. But on the lot that he's speaking of, 113, I think it is, there is no house projected on that lot.
Maybe I misunderstood, I thought it was lot B. Maybe if you have time for this week, and you see my cards at my office, then you can stop and I can show you the map, and we can
Sure.
see if our maps are the same.
Okay. No problem.
Where is this?
At the end of Stanley Park. So it's the one that's Isaacs is on?
So the person that I would think more likely would be approved by the planning board only because there are other lots on that road that are small that have houses on. So.
It all comes down to the presentation at the planning board and then.
But I think we are limits. Okay, our, you know, when you look at the limits, it's not always over here, but in this case, there was an A3 limit that was given. And the map that was filed with the A3, I thought had the proposed drawing that Mr. White was saying about, so maybe I misunderstood one much more. Maybe if we show them one, I would maybe discuss it, but I did not know it was small, I'm not saying you're right or wrong, I was just.
No, that's fine.
My knowledge.
Yeah. But they did mention that they thought, that you said it was buildable. But I think it's a different lot that we do. Anyway, we'll look at it.
I do have a question that's sort of related to buildable lots, but not Stanley Park. Is it a requirement within the village that you have to have an acre for a building?
No.
Less than, okay.
It's, it depends on the zone.
Okay.
But in this case, it has to be 30,000 square feet.
Oh.
And it's a little bit of the math.
30,000 square feet. So that would be 3/4 of it. Is it an acre, 44,000?
Yeah, so three to 3/4 of an acre is,
So what if a person has 0.65?
well, they have to get variance. On the plan.
Unless it's already.
Right. This is already.
Those are the lots.
Okay. Anything else, Rick?
Yeah. There are quite a few sign violations, they pointed out a lot of Airbnb with signs that they stick in the ground. Those are a violation, and it's told to the owners to don't put them up. And a couple of other places like those kind of signs, they put them up.
But then they put them up.
So they're allowed to be up for 30 days, is that right? So you can take them out for a day and put them back in?
Yeah. That's gotta be cleaned up in the land use plan.
Yes.
I think it does. We had an application from T-Mobile, and I think that they are not going to be expanding the budget that
Right.
we're just going to be doing some renovations there, particularly,
Antennas,
I guess that's the
relay systems, right?
Lastly, we cited a lessee or resident of the village for having waste material, rubbish litter scattered around the front yard. And, so anyway, I went to the property, the truck was there, I banged on the door, they handed out the citation, and, no one came to the door. But I think Bob Bagnage was also concerned with the steps, that's a different issue. And additionally, I also talked to Attorney Smith, and she told me exactly what she's doing about it, and the matter has been filed with the village. And I also included with the letter to the lessee or resident, the sections from the land use code, obviously. And that's it.
Thank you, Rick. I know that's not an easy job, but I think you have come into the position very well, and I thank you for your time and effort. Any comments, questions for zoning officer? Nope. Okay, thank you, Rick. Any other new business? Okay, hearing no new business, going to board roundtable. This table is not very round. One or two very brief things. First, we have been extended a field trip opportunity to visit the fire department and to go through the existing equipment. This has been offered by Ryan Marshall. As you know, Ryan has done an outstanding job securing FEMA grants and other grants for the fire department. And I think that it's important for us to know as a board, you know, what's down there, what we're doing, are we just buying equipment just because we can? What needs to be maintained, are we adequately provided? So I think either this next board meeting will take a little bit of time and go down to the fire department and walk about. And then the other thing is that the representative of our LoSAP program is coming on Wednesday at 2:30. He had intended to come at 12, but didn't realize that Albany was so far away. So by the time he gets here, it should be 2:30. I already have two firemen, former firemen, signed up to meet with him about what that conversion to a defined benefit to defined contribution will look like for them after their many years of service to the village. So if you know of any firemen who are retired and are qualified for a benefit, and have any questions, they should come at that time. Of course, we'll make ourselves available for that as well. And we'll give the final update after speaking with Keith as to what that looks like for the village and what we need to be doing going forward. Okay, that's all I have. May I have a motion?
When is this field trip?
Well, I would like it to be at the next board meeting, which would be the second Monday in September. I guess I could look it up on a calendar and give you a date.
And we have one
We
on
all have
board.
that one. And actually,
Oh, I'm sorry,
can I
August.
just note that these meetings are incorrect on the, if anybody's looking at this, the next board of trustees meeting is gonna be August
23rd, August 23rd.
23rd, and the next planning board meeting is actually
been rescheduled for August 31st, I believe.
Oh, my birthday.
So you're talking 1 week later?
Yes,
Normally it would be the 24th, but neither Crystal or I can be here that day, so we asked the board and it will be the August 31st.
it's a planning board meeting. Sorry,
Sorry, it's just because it's on here, so I don't want you to see it.
Yep, so I apologize for the error at the future meetings. So next board meeting is the 23rd, so I'd like to recommend, Jim, are you finished with the parades on the 23rd?
August 23rd, that is our next parade.
Okay, then, I would like to suggest that September 13th, we take a field trip.
I mean, I'm willing to go like this if it were.
Yeah, but it's later, I think, do you wanna go at 7, or do you wanna go?
Doesn't matter. We would probably start here and end up there,
So,
because the public has to be available.
I'm gonna be here by 7:30 for sure.
Okay, I'll talk with Ryan, if you guys are good, we can go at the end of the 23rd. Okay. And not the 13th,
I'm sorry, Brian. I was not that you looking at
okay, we're going back to September 13th for our field trip. Okay, good. The other thing is that Twigs has a craft fair on Thursday. Actually, ask people to come and support that endeavor. And then, as a personal plug, the American Honey Princess, the national spokesperson for honeybees everywhere, will be in Speculator the week of the 13th of September, and will be speaking through the Cornell Cooperative Extension. So, Mr. Donaker, would you like to make a motion? Okay, all right, so the meeting ends at 8:21. Oh, second? I don't think you did a second. No. Second. Right.